So I want to talk about the outline structure. I know that some of you have heard about this before, but I just want to, it's one of those things to me that is so basic and it is so hard for new writers to get, even when they know about it. And there is definitely more than one way to skin a cat, and there's definitely more than one way to outline a book. But if you've known me very long, you know how much I love the hero's journey. It just really speaks to me. I love movies, I love epic stories, I love books. And the hero's journey, we've talked, for those of you that have heard me, forgive me, I'm going to say it all again, is that story where some character is living his ordinary life and then has this zero to hero story. Zero is probably not the best word, but it rhymes and it's catchy. But he's living his ordinary life, or she's living her ordinary life. Along comes a call to adventure. There's a resistance to the call. There is a final acceptance of the call, crossing the threshold, meeting the mentor, facing a challenge, and then another challenge, and then another challenge, and then another challenge until the hero gets to the deepest, darkest cave. And then they face their hardest challenge yet, but it's the one that's going to cause somewhat of a death and resurrection for them. They're going to get to the other side of it and they're going to be this new person. And then they're going to bring the treasure that they gained fighting that dragon back to their community and they're going to share it, the treasure, the elixir, the wisdom, the knowledge. So imagine the Hobbit. Hobbits don't go on adventures, but this one, Bilbo Baggins is called to adventure by the dwarves and Gandalf in the Hobbit, the Tolkien. And at first he's like, no, 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 I don't, I'm a hobbit. We don't do adventures. But then, and he resists the call. But then the next day he's like, they leave without him. And he's like, wait, I wanted to go. So he crosses the threshold. He's got a mentor in Gandalf. He goes and then there's challenges. They're fighting this and that kind of monster and going through this magical forest that just about kills everybody. And finally he gets into a cave where Gollum and the ring are, and he finds the ring, and then ultimately it's the cave where the dragon is that they had brought him in to go help them get steal the treasure back from the dragon. And then when they come out of all that, he is totally a changed hobbit. He's not the same anymore. And he's now the hobbit, the kind of crazy hobbit that you see in Lord of the Rings when Frodo gets to start his adventure. And same with Lord of the Rings. And you have the same kind of thing where there's people living their ordinary life, they're called to adventure, they go through challenges, they have some deep dark experience, an epiphany and resurrection, and then they come back. And in Lord of the Rings books, you literally see Frodo and his friends go back, bring back treasure and bring back weapons and bring back knowledge and wisdom and drive orcs out of the Shire that have shown up while they were gone. And so a nonfiction book can follow the same pattern, and the most exciting ones do. Most recently, I started working on a project for someone who has been very successful giving sermons and having YouTube channels and stuff like that. But the book they were trying to write was based on a bunch of sermons, and and it looked like it. And so you had this interesting book where every chapter really had come from a sermon, and every chapter had kind of a beginning and a middle and an end. And you want that, but what it did was it almost like killed the book, like over and over and over. It almost like came to an end where you, you don't even really feel like you want to keep going because you already went. And what you want in a book is you want enough of a overall story arc that your reader wants to keep reading. So you see what I'm saying? You've got sermons, you've got arc, 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 arc. And to some degree, that's fine as long as each point is a necessary step on the journey, but it wasn't quite like that. So we changed it up so that the whole thing was a journey from the beginning with this with the reader having this problem to the through each of those challenges, but not solving every challenge until we get 2/3 into the book, and there is the main thing that needs to happen, the main thing that the author needs to get the reader to recognize, to accept, and to do. That's where the heart of your core message lies. That's where you've spent 2/3 of the book trying to convince them that this is what the problem is, and this is what the solution is, and this is where they're going to deal with it. Not the end, but about 2/3 at that golden moment. And then after that, the rest of the book is kind of like the wrap up of like, now how do you bring them into the community? And what I love about that, I mean, bring them into the mission. And what I love about that is that most of the people I work with are building a ministry, or they're at least building an audience of readers. And if you're starting out and you're not already famous and influential, then you have to be building an audience with your work. And if your book can commission the reader to help you spread your message because it helped them so much, that's the bringing back the elixir.